Hey y'all, Iric Sky here. Welcome back to another live show. And if you're watching this at approximately 1:25 p.m. New York City time, that's Eastern time, this is a live show. So anything that you type, I can see and respond real time, face on video. So without further ado, let's jump right in and get into the really good stuff here. So there's a few things coming, and one of the biggies is the Osmo Action. So if you haven't seen the Osmo Action yet, I see a lot of people tuning in. Welcome aboard, everyone. The Osmo Action is basically DJI's past due response to GoPro. We've grown accustomed to DJI and their awesome drones and also their Osmo Pocket. Wasn't a huge fan of the Osmo Mobile and the Osmo Mobile 2 that used a smartphone, even though it did stabilize the footage well. It was just something else to carry around. But the Osmo Pocket, I've been able to achieve outstanding results with that. The Osmo Action's a different animal from the perspective that it's waterproof. So it's positioned to be the GoPro replacement. And mine should be here. I'm hoping the last time I checked it was in Hong Kong. But it said it was on Lantau or Lanitou Island or whatever. So hopefully it'll land at my studio on Monday, because I'm really excited to review the Osmo Action. Obviously, take it out of the box first, see what it looks like. I've got high hopes for it because GoPro's great, but GoPro ever since the GoPro Karma failure, it kind of put a bad taste in my mouth about GoPro. I've loved GoPro since GoPro Hero 2, but my experience with the GoPro Karma just didn't leave me with warm and fuzzies. So with that being the case, I think Osmo Action right now, especially, the timing couldn't be better, because GoPro is, unfortunately, they're struggling. They went public and Wall Street's kind of taken over their ship. And it hasn't, in my opinion, it has not been a good thing for GoPro. So although the GoPro Hero 7 Black is pretty good, and it does a pretty good job of stabilizing the footage without a gimbal, it's going to be interesting to see how the stabilization that's built into this Osmo Action compares to the GoPro Hero 7 Black. So, excuse me, Sean Coonery, could you sit down, please? He's rubbing up against the laptop in the studio. You can probably hear him purring. You want to purr to your audience? He said, yeah, he'll purr. So he's purring there. Yeah, so the Osmo Action is going to be a big thing. And we're also expecting within the next, I don't like to speculate when it comes to dates, but it's looking like we may actually see a DJI Spark 2 drone. And that drone may have a 3-axis gimbal, and that drone may have a 4K video capabilities. So, given that DJI has discontinued the Phantom, that's interesting that DJI still seems to have an interest in the Spark. So, the new DJI lineup may be DJI Spark 2, Mavic Air 2, and Mavic Pro 3. So, it's going to be interesting to see how all that materializes. As far as cameras for the studio and out in the field, this thing right here is next to impossible to beat. Now, historically, I've used the Zeiss Batis, which I love. Zeiss Batis, the 25mm. I get some awesome still photos, some awesome videos from that. It's small, it's lightweight. This lens has grown on me. This is the 24-70 G Master, and it's heavy, but it's not as heavy after you use it for a while, because when you use a Zeiss Batis, whether it's a Batis 18, 25, or 40, those are very small and lightweight and feel balanced on the camera. So you kind of get used to those, and then you slap on a G Master, and it's like, God, that thing's a brick. But after using this for many months now, it doesn't feel excessively heavy or excessively large. But the video quality and photo quality. Got a question here from Brandon. Brandon says, was the Spark even good, or was it more like a toy? That's a great question. Let me pull up my Spark video here. I'm going to link it in the comments. Let's see. Just a second here. And I'm going to link this for everyone. Let's see. I think this is it. I'm getting it. Okay, this isn't the one. I'm getting that. To answer your question about the DJI Spark, I'm pulling open this video. Actually, my first flight of the Spark, and it was quite. Let's see. Oh yeah, first flight. So this is my first flight with the DJI Spark. I'm about to link it within the video comments. But it was actually, there's the link to the video. So it's not, I wouldn't call the Spark a toy drone. I would, the closest thing to a toy would be like a DJI Tello, which is it's actually not DJI, it's Rise Tech, but it's very closely engineered, I think, with DJI. So the Spark, the thing that made the original Spark, and I'm just talking about DJI Spark 1, not the Spark 2 that's rumored to be about to release. But, the Spark was super small and it was super lightweight. There were several problems, and when you watch my video, you'll see what happened. The battery life was not enough. I mean, I understand people complain about battery life with the Phantom or the Mavic Pro or the Mavic Pro 2, and it's not really a justified complaint in my opinion, because they're saying, oh man, the battery life's bad on those drones, and it's just because they want more. They don't really need more, but they want more. In the case of the DJI Spark, there was a need for more battery life. It wasn't a want, it was a need. And, for that reason, battery life alone, the Spark just didn't cut it for me. And you'll see in this video, I mean, I was in the middle of the lake in my boat, and it got pretty sketchy, trying to land and not run out of battery. So that was a wake-up call that, this drone is, it needs some improvements. The other opportunity for improvement with the Spark is the gimbal. It needs to have at least a 3-axis gimbal. The original Spark just had a 2. And then also the camera was topping out at 1080 HD, whereas now, I mean, obviously we're accustomed to 4K video, and before we know it, we'll start becoming familiar with 8K video. Haven't really, for the mainstream consumer and prosumer, 8K hasn't penetrated the market yet, but I mean, that'll be the next thing. So yeah, Spark 2 with 4K video, hopefully greatly enhanced battery life. What would really make the Spark 2 cool is if they'd let us recharge it by way of USB-C, not having to use any sort, just plug it into a USB port somewhere and recharge by way of USB-C. That would be great. But it's just really, until it comes out, I can only speculate. But it's going to be a tough drone to, the Spark 2 is going to be a tough drone to sell because Mavic Air is so good. But then Mavic Air is not quite as good as Mavic 2 Zoom or Mavic 2 Pro. And then you got Spark. I mean, maybe Spark 2 will kind of become if they do release it, maybe it'll just be kind of the recreational, less expensive drone for people wanting to enjoy the hobby, for people that want to take a few short 4K video clips for their YouTube channel, but not necessarily spend as much as they would probably have to spend for, say, a Mavic 2 or whatever, the Mavic 3 may be coming out or whatever. So, yeah, I think Spark 2 should be interesting as a curiosity. I definitely, for my use case, filming YouTube videos, for my use case, I don't really know where Spark might fit in my drone arsenal, but like any DJI product that's just not a total turd, it's definitely something I'll pick up to play with. And again, the only DJI product that's disappointed me to date, severely disappointed me, is the Ronin S. You know, the handheld gimbal stabilizer that I was trying to use with my Sony Alpha, and I was trying to use it with a Zeiss Batis, which was small and lightweight lens, but it never would balance properly, and it was just jerky, and I was super disappointed with that. I gave it more than an honest effort to try to make it work properly, and it just never did. I mean, maybe if someone's using a Panasonic Lumix or something, maybe it works well with that, but it never worked with my Sony A7 III or Sony A7R III. So yeah, that was disappointing. But yeah, we've got a lot of stuff. Just wanted to, like to do these live shows every now and then. I know I kind of picked a weird time for this show. It's like 1:35 p.m. New York City time. But just want to touch base with everyone and, let everybody know what's coming. I mean, I think the Osmo Action is going to be a huge piece of excitement that we weren't really expecting. I mean, I know I was expecting a waterproof housing for the Osmo Pocket, and I wonder whatever's happened to that. It's like it was part of the, when that was originally released, the Osmo waterproof housing was something that was touted, but it just never, it hasn't materialized yet to my knowledge, which is kind of weird. But yeah, Osmo Action, and I just posted a link to Osmo Action within the video's comments. I mean, it looks cool, but again, until I get my hands on it, until I've taken it out of the box, until I put it through its paces, I don't want to develop any sort of assumptions. And that's one of the things. A lot of people, they'll watch these YouTube channels that tend to have early access to products and this, that, and the other, and that's just not a fair way to gauge the performance of a product. I mean, if somebody is getting something that's pre-release, that's not a true test. I mean, products change. Something that has not been released yet, the software could change, the design could change, the internal components could change. There's so many things that could change. So I never base my opinion off of any YouTube video or any pre-release blog post, magazine article, etc. How I develop my opinion is buying that product, taking it out in the field, and seeing what it does, and just having zero expectations. I mean, granted, with DJI, I do have a somewhat high degree of confidence in DJI, just because they've delivered consistently excellent products, except for the Ronin S. Didn't work for me, but a lot of people have had a good experience with the Ronin S. But overall, for only one product for me from a company to be a dud, that speaks volumes for a company. I mean, they're obviously doing something right. So with Osmo Action, I mean, I've got high hopes, and I think looking at the specs on paper, I think it could be a serious threat for GoPro. Now, the one thing that GoPro still has is the the name recognition. People say, "Oh, what are you going to film that with?" They say, "Oh, I'm going to film it with a GoPro." A lot of people that don't even know cameras, they know the name GoPro, and they know if they're going to go snorkeling or scuba diving or whatever, it's probably a GoPro that they probably want to strap into their bag along with their other gear. So, DJI is going to have that hurdle to overcome, attracting people that aren't really that camera savvy, but know what a GoPro is, but probably have no idea what a DJI is. They're going to have that challenge to overcome. But I think if the DJI Action performs, if the Osmo Action rather performs exceptionally well, I think the performance will sell itself. I don't think DJI is really going to have to convince a lot of people to jump off of the GoPro ship and start selling aboard the DJI Osmo Action. So I think it's going to, if it performs well, and if most or all of the GoPro mounts are compatible with it, that's going to be the big thing, because I've got a ton of GoPro mounts. I got chest straps, I've got suction cup mounts, I've got monopods. If I can use those existing mounts for the Osmo Action, then that is huge, because I'm not having to, it's not like I'm having to switch to another camera brand and then rebuy all the accessories. No, I just buy the camera and hopefully we'll be able to use my existing GoPro mount. So if that works well, that's going to be huge for me, and especially at the video stability, because it's not gimbal stabilized, but it has software stabilization. If the stabilized video from the Osmo Action and just the overall video quality in 4K of the Osmo Action meets or exceeds GoPro Hero 7 Black, then in my book they'll have a winner. And the big thing is that a lot of people don't think about, that forward-facing screen on the Osmo Action. That is huge. That's something that at least in current model GoPros we don't have. You can pair your GoPro with an app on a smartphone, but the smartphone's probably not waterproof. Whereas having that screen directly on the front of the Osmo Action, that's going to be huge for travel vloggers rather, like myself, adventure travelers that are trying to get that footage in the water, in the sky, on the dry ground, everywhere, and not have to worry about, obviously, this camera right here, the Sony Alpha. I'm going to be very careful where I use this. I'm not going to take this out in the water. If I do, it's going to be around my neck, and it's going to be above water shots without waves, where I'm trying to get some still photos or video clips for Irish Guys Adventure Channel. But, when I don't want to take something this fancy, to me, this is a fancy camera. But I think that Osmo Action will be a great alternative to using that, and especially if you want to capture what's called B-roll footage. I think that the Osmo Action should be able to do an excellent job of capturing B-roll, and it's going to be interesting to see. But again, if you haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe. YouTube.com/iRicksGuy. And again, I'm hoping my Osmo Action is in Hong Kong or Lantau Island, but hopefully I will have it soon. I'll be getting it out of the box, take it out in the field, dipping it in the water, not abusing it, but putting it through its paces to see or how well or how poorly it will perform, because I've got high hopes for that. And then again, DJI Spark 2 right around the corner, and with the discontinuation of Phantom, it is going to be interesting to see what they bring us to replace the Phantom, because there's a lot of people that are going to miss the Phantom. I love the Phantom, but Mavic 2 Pro is so much better, and it's just going to be interesting to see what they bring us even better than that. But with that being said, I just wanted to do a quick touch base, just a live event, get everybody excited. And again, if you haven't picked up the Osmo Action yet, maybe you're on the fence. Maybe you want to see my review. Maybe you want to see other people's reviews first. Whatever the case may be, if you decide to get an Osmo Action, just go to irishguy.com/Osmo Action, and you can find a link to buy it there. And as soon as I start playing with my Osmo Action and I figure out which mounts work well, this, that, and the other, I'm going to link all of those on my website. So if you haven't subscribed, do so. And this is going to be kind of a short show because I've got some other things that I'm putting together, and you're not going to believe these videos. So stay tuned. It's going to be an exciting next few weeks. And again, be sure to subscribe, youtube.com/iRicksGuy, and ring that bell icon when you do, and that'll make sure you're notified whenever I post another video. And yeah, it's going to be fun. Thanks for your viewership. Had a lot of people tune in, and it's greatly appreciated. See you later. Hey y'all, iRicksGuy here. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. It's viewers like you that enable my channel to continue to grow.